Today I'm going to defeat the zombie bots on chess.com as part of a Halloween special. Please enjoy! Zombie Danny has distant vague memories of being a famous international master and commentator. Can you survive a game with him now that he's undead? Rated 400, I hope so. E4, Sicilian defense, 400 player, okay. So I play the Smith-Morra, they take, I push c3, they decline, Alpine formation, knight f6, push, and you know, when I was playing this game, I'm wondering why is a 400 rated bot, playing the theory. And in fact, I think playing theory much better than what I know, in fact. Made me starting to really see the horror of the Sicilian defense. So up to here, still excellent moves in sort of theory. And I make the first inaccuracy, in fact, -1, and thank goodness they finally make a blunder. So +3.8 +4. I decide to attack the queen. I thought it's probably not that good, but against bots you never know, and they hang the queen. Very, very good. Take, and here really it's just trying to gobble up as much material as I can. So they didn't take the bishop back, so let's just take. There we go. Defend. Will they let me take? Hopefully so. Yes, they will. There we are. And not long after, I should be able to win. So hardly any material left with check. They move the king, and this is mate. Good game. All right, so now we have the Zotez zombie bot rated at 800. And the interesting thing is I found this bot rather easier than the 400 bot. I got the white pieces and I played the Vienna game. They decided to play the Max Lang defense, bishop out. They played a full symmetric version of Max Lang defense, and now queen to g4. Now that the bishop's out, targeting that pawn. One of the most common moves for black is to bring the queen to f6, and in this position, you've got the very powerful Meitner-Mieses gambit. Knight to d5, attacking the queen, attacking the pawn on c7, which of course comes potentially with a fork of the king and the rook. And my opponent moves their king for unclear reasons, and dropping a Zotez Gambit. Capture the queen, they take back, I move my queen to h5, now potential mate in one threat, they allow it. Good game. 2 bots down. Next, we have the Fabiano Caruana zombie bot, and like the other bots, he wants my brains. Well, let's see. I had the black pieces here. They led with d4, the queen's pawn, and as usual, the England gambit. And one of the things against bots, still not rated that high, 1000, is they often don't do so well against tricky gambit openings. So we'll see. They accept the gambit. I developed knight c6, looking to take back the pawn. They push a random pawn, e3, apparently an inaccuracy. So, not too sure why they did that. Take the pawn if it's offered. They push the queen out, attacking the knight, defend with d6. They move that pawn a second time. I bring that knight back. Whoops. Attacking the queen. And I think with these zombie bots, they have a bit of a problem with hanging their queens. Queen forward, develop the other knight, and bishop out, hanging the queen. Excellent. Take, and pretty much from this point onwards, I was really just trying to force some peace trades. So there we go. They could have just taken that, not sure why not. So take. So try to force peace trades if I can. There we go. So here we are. Take. And, sometimes I think the bot just gets quite confused. I'm not too sure why they allowed that. Their king side is now completely open. Queen up. Yep, that's fine. Looking to capture. Also here potentially as well, but of course the knight is currently defending. There we go. Here, and there we are. They, I saw they could capture. That's fine because I can capture back with check. And they try to block with the rook, but of course that knight is hanging. And here we do a few more shuffles, but pretty much it is unavoidable. And I don't checkmate in the most efficient way, but now only pawns left for white. A couple of more moves, checkmate. 3 down, 2 to go. Next, we have the Nepo bot, rated at 1400. And this bot I actually found reasonably difficult, though they did make a blunder right at the beginning and I kept the lead afterwards. So I didn't necessarily find the middle game that easy. I did have to think it through. White pieces, as usual, managed to get the Vienna, and just like with the Zotex game, it ended up being a full symmetrical Max Lang defense, and we get to the Meitner-Mieses Gambit. Tricky gambit. How will the bot respond? Now, they responded again with a suboptimal, in fact, a poor move. So bishop captures pawn on f2. That is a blunder. +7. Now it is with check, so you do have to move the king, out of the way somewhere. So I just moved it to d1. They sort of offered to trade queens, but we can trade queens. This still exists, and I will still win the rook. So take. There we go with check, capture the rook. They make a unusual decision there because it now allows me to evacuate that knight, and that's what I do. Like before, because I am up material, I'm just trying to force piece trades. So some of this might not be the most elegant, but it's a matter of just not stuffing up, trying to force balance piece trades where available. So there's a bit of shuffling here. They do actually, manipulate sort of their pieces reasonably okay. So one rook here, they've got this palisade of tripled pawns, which, I do need to deal with. Here we go. And let's try to work on that side. There we are. And I've broken through. They've got no pieces left, and it's a matter of just picking out their pawns. There we are. And it's not difficult now to win. So pass pawn on the A file. There we go. Queen. There we are. And mate. Good game. Final bot left. All right, the final bot is the Hikaru zombie bot, rated at 1800. Now, I did find the Hikaru bot somewhat challenging. I had to play, I think, a few times before I finally had the win. So in this game, white pieces, e4, and another Sicilian. I decided to play Smith-Morra Gambit. Take, and this time to push the c3, and again declined the Alapin formation. This time I decided to take with queen. I decided to go aggro, put the queen back. I think this wasn't the. It's okay, but black is somewhat ahead in this position. They push a pawn. I decide to try to pin that knight to the king. I believe that Stockfish calls this blunder, because what happens is that it actually ends up hanging the e4 pawn. So in this position, there are two attackers, they can take, and I just lose that pawn. So that was a blunder. They take, I take, that knight, that bishop is already there. Let's get rid of that knight, damage that structure, bring my knight out. They bring their queen to add an extra defender. Good move. I was thinking potentially, how can I attack the queen? The last few times, of course, the bot hangs their queen. Here, I ask, do we want to trade queens? They do. There we go. And, you know, black is substantially ahead. I thought I was losing this game. So I play on, and interesting, you know, they make a move, fairly random move that was apparently a blunder, where all the advantage goes back to equality. Very interesting. I blunder right back. But, you know, I'm not punished by zombie Hikaru. Bring my rook to so rook AC1, trying to see whether or not I could get an attack on that pawn. They take with their bishop. I capture back. They take, interesting, another blunder, close to equality again. And I capture that pawn. And from here, I think I actually end up doing okay. So wanted to prevent the sort of movement of that knight. So that I thought that was probably going to be a good move, and I was correct. Blind up in a battery, so good move. Of course, that was also a loft. Move my bishop out of the way, out of that battery. They push a pawn, and interesting, you know, I start to get a little bit of the advantage. I take that pawn. I'm not sure why they just hung it. Now, you know, a rook to the c file, attacking the bishop, move it out of the way. They push a pawn. Here, I thought trading would be good. Stockfish disagrees, but luckily I didn't specifically get punished. And after this series of trades, so yes, I want to be able to move my bishop out of the way, but of course at the moment it is pinned to the rook, so I need to give an extra defender to the rook. They push a pawn, and that ended up being a game-changing error. Take, I take. Apparently that was a blunder, almost back to equality, but I don't think it matters, because now we've each got a rook, three pawns, but I have the passed pawn on the b file. I'm pretty sure I can defend it unless I stuff up. There we go, offer to trade rooks, Rook now behind the pawn, and it's a matter of pushing it forward, you know, with the king to support. There we go, forced trade. I now have the rook, rook and 2 pawns versus 3 pawns, should be winning, and I managed to pick off their pawns. There we go. Put my rook onto the f file. It doesn't matter when that's going to promote, because this pawn will promote. There we are. You know, they sort of abandoned that last pawn. And mate, oh, good game. GG. I managed to defeat the zombie bot herd.